Angelic teaching number 3, session number 5. I guess you've been noticing that the background is all aligned the way I like it. So as you can see, everything falls into place when it's time. Now, today we're going to be working on time, about projecting ourselves through time and space. And for this, I would like you to take notes. Take notes of all the things that you're going to be able to notice, to grab, to witness. And for this, you've got different ways. You can record it on an audio recording. You can grab some notes. I tell you how I work, and then you'll decide what you want to do. The reason why you would like to take notes is that the things that you're going to get today, the information that you're going to gather, you might not remember them in 1 month or 2 years. And also, you want to keep track of those insights that you've got, because it gives credibility to your work. Later on, you can get back to them, go through them. I literally have boxes of papers. I used to be taking notes, having always next to me a white sheet of paper and a pencil. I like to be working with pencils, lead pencils, because it's lead, and because it's lead, I find it's easier to encode because it's carbon. Lead is made of carbon. And then I also write only on one side of the page, never on the other one. I like to do that. That way, the energy, the emotions, they don't go through. So that's the way I work. Now I've been working with a new technology device. I'm working with a Microsoft tablet, which I like really a lot, because I can take notes, my handwritten notes directly on it, and I link that to, I take notes on OneNote, it's a program, and it's linked through my membership, my $10 monthly membership with Microsoft, and I link that to Dropbox. So that way everything that I do is already being saved right away into the cloud. That way, no matter if I lose my device, I can all the time have my notes with me all the time. There is another thing that I always use is the notes on my iPhone. So on the notes on my iPhone, I've been creating different folders, and in those different folders, of course, the folders are linked and saved into iCloud. Of course, you've been noticing that we're talking about two different things that I record, either on iCloud or either on Dropbox. That way I have less risks, as I have two different organisms, two different entities that are going to save my data. If I take some time today to tell you about all those different tools, it's because it's very important to blend our different altered realities, the things that we perceive, to our physical realm and realities. And you also want to be efficient and productive in the way you work. We're talking about huge amount of content that we can download, and it goes very, very fast, and it takes heaps of pages. So even when I write handwritten notes and I want to keep them with me, I take through my tablet, I take snapshots of those different pages. I can create a PDF. I can save that PDF as well in one of my notes program. So I have all those different folders, and everything is organized. Now, this being said, how about we start and traveling into the future and see what comes up? All right. So we're going to be traveling, and then the thing is, when do you decide to travel? What's the purpose for traveling, and why would you do that? You can do it for your personal purpose, of course, and that could be involving, for example, you're looking to buy a house or an apartment or your place for your holidays, and you just want to find the right perfect one. You also want to see in the future how that thing is going to look like. Whatever project you're working on, it could be work, it could be a relationship, it could be a kid. How do you see your kid growing? What are the years where he's going to be challenged? What are the things that you could be helping him in order to progress there? To see if he's got any skills and abilities and how to enhance them and how to help him to find mentors, tutors in order to help him grow in those different fields in a much better way. Let's suppose that you foresee that he's going to be an NFL football player. Well, guess what? You're definitely going to be putting him on the field right away as soon as he starts working, right? Those different things. Now, before we start going into those different process and how we move to those different things, I'd like you to remember that you can visualize like a straight line, and that's the time, the time frame. And you can scroll that line and you can visualize that you're scrolling that line, and you can visualize different snapshots and different videos, and you have to visualize what you want to see, right? So in that case, you want to see moments that are key to the life of this person in regards to the topic that you're looking for. Let's say, for example, you want to look at the health of one person. So it's a specific person, it's a specific topic, and you want to be looking at a certain bracket as well. Also, you want to define that every single video that you're going to look at, you want at the bottom right corner, and that's very important. You have to define where you want those information to be shown. I like to be having them shown at the bottom right corner in white font Arial, for example, so it's easy to read. And I want there to be written specific things that I can ask, right? So let's say it's almost like on your watch, my Garmin watch, for example. If I click on that button, you've got different information. Well, it's the same thing. You can be changing and being able to just have different information being displayed there. I like to have the day, the time, the year, the day like the 21st, for example, but I want it to be as well written, for example, Tuesday. And we can be looking as well for the city. You want to have the city just down below. So that way, whenever you see something, you don't have to try to guess. You basically create, you manifest what you want to see. So that's the totally different part between embracing everything that comes in and say, well, whatever vision is, I'm more than happy and I'm very grateful for it because that's the way I work, and I'm more than happy I'm able to just deliver this vision. Well, what we're doing now is we are bending realities. We are the actors choosing and deciding what we want to see and when we want to see and how we want to see it, filtering those different informations in order to make them more accurate. So for us to be able to use them in a better way, right? How is this taking place? Well, it's easy. You really want to put your intention out there and make it alive as much as possible, all right? So let's say, for example, that you want to look at your holidays for next year, right? To see where are the significant places that you will be going. So the time frame that you're looking at is linked to you and yourself and your family. That's the key people, right? Now, you're going to be able to slide this, and at the bottom you're going to see the year, 2017, 2018, 2019, and you are able to see videos. And on the videos, when you've got the video there, it's the same thing. You've got that triangle symbol that goes on the side, right? And you know that's a video. If you don't have that symbol, you know, like the symbol that you usually see on YouTube saying it's a triangle pointing towards the right side, so you click on that and then it plays the video, right? If it's not a video, you won't have that symbol, for example, and you will know it's a picture. When you have the video, when you click on the video, boom, shows up and comes up in front of you and opens up. You can also visualize that video just pops up and gets on a larger screen, but you still have below all your time frame with all those different videos and snapshots. So what I'm telling you is that you are able to create almost like a desktop of what you want to see. And that's an amazing tool here, because you're controlling what you want to see. Let's say, for example, that you want to have access to something else as well. Well, the old full page that you've been creating with your timeline and with your one video or maybe two videos that you're putting on pause or play or playing at the same time, all of this could be one screen. And if you slide that thing, you can be working on a second screen. See what I'm talking about? You can be monitoring that way a lot of different things, all at once, all at the same time. You can be also, let's bring back the desktop that we had. You can be as well having at the bottom here pop-up messages that are very important, things that you have to notice, things that you have to know. It can be linked to words, it can be a warning that flashes, depending of your gifts, right? Depending if you're more visual, if you've been building up your capacity of visions, of announcing those different things. It might be linked to some notes. You might be very colorful. Again, at the start, it might not be as precise as we are describing it now. It might be at the start just asking a question and being guided towards the answer, and this answer being a video in which you are witnessing all those different events occurring, right? And in that sense, it's really up to you. It's really up to you. You can embrace that. So let's say that you ask for a vision and you don't have all that frame all sorted. You're not the one handling all the visions. You are basically in a blurry situation and you're asking for guidance and you want to see something. Let's say that you start to have an image popping up. You know what's going to happen, right? You're going to have an image popping up as you will be increasing your level of frequency, as you will be embracing all of those different messages. At one point you start to have an image. You know how it works, right? If you've been studying this before with me, when the image pops up, if you focus on the image, trying to understand the image, you're going to ask your mind to jump in. By doing this, you're losing it, right? The mind and your soul are two coprocessors. They don't work at the same speed. The coprocessor of the soul works at a much, much greater speed, which allows it to be processing more data, right? So if you start kicking in your mind into the process and trying to understand what's happening, you're losing it. So it suddenly becomes all blurry again. So you want at that point to just don't put any pressure, just get back on your soul, and again, ask again for the same question. And this time when the image pops up, stay focused on the crystal ball, and you'll start to have a clear picture in front of you. You might start with a picture, right? So the picture that you have now, you're going to visualize it in a frame, right? And if you don't have the frame, you create one around it. White thick border. Now that you've got this, you can resize it. Okay? And when you resize it, you're going to visualize that you can slide it and move it anywhere you want. Like you're working on a touchscreen in front of you, and that you just display that thing on the touchscreen. Now, you can visualize at the bottom a straight line, and you're going to be able to slide that video or that picture on that timeline, and you're going to be able to move that video or picture on that timeline until you find the right spot, because you're going to feel that it is the right spot. Is it 2017? Is it 2016? Is it 2025? What feels right? You work with your instincts the same way you've been working with the different buttons when you increase the level of frequency and the intensity of the vortex. You work the same way, but this time you use this technology, this idea, this concept towards finding on the timeline where this memory takes place. That's one tool to find the timeline, the right timeline. The other tool is to just ask. To ask that on that frame, on that picture, at the bottom right corner, pops up the number, the date, the specific date of that. And remember, if you click twice and you touch it twice, then it opens up, it gets bigger. You can resize it, you can put it at the top. You do understand that you can be playing simultaneously different videos, right? It is like being able to have different slides of screen, like on iPhone, on the home page. You've got different slides of screens, and you've got all your apps in all the different other pages, right? I like to be working with the technology tools that we've got on the market, because those are facts, those are things that we already handle in our daily life, right? And you just use the same tools, but with your visions. So you can definitely visualize that you slide this, you've got another page, and on that page you've got different videos playing up. You can as well, the same way, remember your own memories, right? You can remember your own memories. And having a folder of different videos, the same way you have on your iPhone this type of folder. And within the folder you can have as well different slides. Let's put a pause on that. The things I like to be working at that level here can be working on personal development. Let me explain that to you. We are right now thinking of going into the future and creating like a different library of things that we could be putting in our life, right? Okay, that's a good thing. Now, what if, beside this, we work as well on a personal level, on personal development level, and we want to create a library of all the positive moments in our life? Wow, how great would that be? Being able to go in a place where it is safe. Go in a place remotely, in a place where it's safe, by traveling through a white box and going to a place where you can visualize and replay all those different videos that you like. How great would that be? Yeah, this time instead of traveling to the future, we travel to the past, right? And you can have your screen with all those different folders, and each folder having those different screens, etc., etc. The aim is to have different snapshots and videos of all the moments that you've been experiencing. How great would that be? It's funny that iPhone didn't create that already. See what I'm talking about? That's where your ideas start to blend with potential possibilities. And that's how you work. You work with something that brings you joy. You work with something that brings you passion. And then you start to let go of your creativity and you record it live. Imagine what we just created here. Imagine an app linked to Dropbox that you can be using on your iPhone that will allow you, as soon as you tap on it, to reorganize by links appearing through a snapshot of a picture, like the thumbnails of YouTube. Yeah, like YouTube, right? YouTube, you've got all your different videos, right? And you can be creating like folders, right? Imagine if you blend all those different things there. That means that on your iPhone, you can be tapping to that app that opens up those different folders, and each folder, you've got either pictures or videos that you can see like this. And when you click on one, then it pops up, and you can just put them on the screen and display them the way you want. The same way you can display them on Microsoft 10. On the home page, if you click at the bottom right, then you're going to have all those different things that you've been opening, all those different pages that you've been opening, and as you can see, you've got your Netflix here, you've got another Netflix there, and you've got different videos in each of them. Now you're going to tell me, well, John, all those different visions, how do you put them all together when you want to grab some notes, right? Let me go grab something. Alright, that's another tool that I usually use. That's the one from this morning. So what happens is, in the morning, when I get up, this morning I woke up at 5:40, something like that, I start to have those thoughts in my mind, right? So the first thing I do is, I stay in bed for 15 minutes. That's the first thing. Because I still want to explore those thoughts, those visions, those ideas that I had. And I want to have this still in my mind and being fresh, and I don't want to lose them. And if I have several, I might have 2 or 3, 4, whatever, what I start doing is I start mapping them. So initially I started to take notes, and then I suddenly realized that it didn't create as much synergy in between all the different things that I had, because I would just name them in terms of bullet points, right? So I started to do something like that. As you can see, it starts with one idea, and then from there it networks left and right, and I can put different things there. On that one, for example, the vision that I had was about UK and the strategy, United Kingdom and the strategy of conquest, right? So I would put different things that pop up in my mind. The boats, the different currencies that they've got, the stock exchange, the wealth, the British intelligence, the government member of parliament, for example, the fact that they are opposing each other in the assembly, which basically leaves all the freedom for the kings to be able to do whatever they want without being involved into those different queries, right? Etc., etc. The trade resources, the language, etc. So you're telling me, John, another thing. I've been putting at the bottom right corner, remember what I told you, the date, right? So I do this for a number of things. I had another one coming up this morning talking about Elon Musk, right? This amazing businessman / inventor. And I've been doing the same thing because I started to have visions for him. Well, I had also other visions for Earth and humanity and different topics that people should be aware and we should be working on collectively as humanity, right? The water, the pollution, population that keeps increasing, the atrocities, the sustainable economy, people ruling the world, people and more concerning about their health, wealth, well-being, and overexploitation of Earth as well. How much did all of that took me? Well, all total, writing all those notes took me 20 minutes. Okay, so 20 minutes, yes, of my day in order to do that, plus 15 minutes in my bed. Well, I call it my daily meditation, right? Now, remember another tool that I gave you was all about going to bed 1 hour earlier and waking up 1 hour earlier every single morning. Well, that may be part of it, right? See where we are right now. It's not about using only our capacities of being psychic or creating fields of energy and being a vortex and being a healer. It's about working on different topics that are important, that matter. Just among those 3 topics here, I've been working on one country and the strategy of a country. Why is it so powerful? I've been working on one single person, one person who basically runs a company, so we'll be working on a company. And this one here, we've been working on the destiny of humanity and the different challenges that they are facing and that they will have to take care of. Well, you know what? 20 minutes to be working on 3 subjects like that, I think that's not bad for the first day, right? And again, always use positive words. This is an amazing start for the day, right? See how that sounds? It's totally different. The words that we use are very important and we have to be aware of this all the time, right? So remind all of you all those different tools because they are really, really important, and the more we put focus into them, the more they become alive, right? What would I do now with those different folders and with those different papers? What would I do with that? Well, I would either create with another piece of paper that I will fold into 2, and I will be calling it mind maps, and that way I would put my 3 mind maps into this, and that becomes my folder, right? And there you go, another folder of mine which adds up to the other ones that I already have. And this folder goes in another bigger folder called projects, etc., etc. I have another folder called to do, and you can be going on and on like that forever. Now, all those things are all about structuring the content and bringing those different things into different realities. The way I like to be working as well, another tool that I gave you when I work on a project is what I call the orchestra. Okay? So the orchestra is you sitting on a couch in a comfortable place, not too high from the floor, and the floor has to be not too cold either, and you understand why very soon. And then I work on visions. And whatever comes up, whatever message, whatever image, or whatever things that come up towards me, I start writing that down. It can be linked to my work. How should I develop my work and which direction should I take? So what I will do is I will start to have a vision. Oh, it's all about, for example, developing on TrueLocal and doing some ads and Yelp as well, which are different websites where you can advertise your work. All right, so I will write that down on a piece of paper, on a blank piece of paper, and I will put that on the floor. And then suddenly I will have something else coming up, a new DVD maybe that I would like to be creating, new content for teaching. So I will write that down, bing, and I will put that as well on the floor next to the first one, and etc. etc. I might be as well coming up with my specific topics that I would like to be working on, and for example, it could be linked to a type of a computer that I would need for my work, and I want to have more insights about that. So I want to direct my visions towards this topic. So what I will do is, I will definitely write on my own computer, laptop at the top of the page, right? And I will start to write the things that come up towards me right away, the things that I think of, and I put that paper in front of me as well. And you start to see the pattern that we're creating here. It's like pieces of puzzles that you put in front of you, and at that point there is the energy that moves from one topic to another, and it enhances the level of frequency of the room itself. And you start, as you increase your own level of frequency, you start to see that you're able to work with those different folders at the same time, right? So I display those notes in like a rainbow around me, let's say 180 degrees around me, in front of me, and I might have just different rows, right? One line it would be 7 different topics, and then I will have maybe 3 different rows like that. So I'm facing 3 rows and 21 different topics. I like to not go over 21 because after that it gets overwhelming. And you're going to see magic beauty happens when you do that. That's a tool that I call the orchestra. The orchestra is quite amazing. It's mind-blowing, honestly. I've been creating so much when I was, for example, creating this not-for-profit Believe and Act in 2010, and I've been working 3 years for that from scratch, developing up to a team of 120 people involved in 12 different countries and helping thousands of people in different projects in order to help them to realize, to make happen their dreams, right? We've been doing this from scratch, and the tool that I use to do that is the orchestra that I've been giving you just now. It is very, very powerful. So I like to do those sessions maximum of 1 hour. At the start you can start with 20 minutes. You really want to be working on the time frame as well. This is very, very important. The time frame is going to allow your mind and the spirit to know that you want to be working from that to that. And at the start of the session I know exactly how long is the session going to go for. Why would I do that? I do that for one specific reason, right? I do that to train myself to be working through time and space and being able to work on a bracket. So what basically I'm doing by stretching it and allowing myself to be working on 1 hour, I basically send a message to the universe by saying, you know what, whatever email I receive at that time period, during that time bracket, that's good, I take it. Now, doing this, I do it consciously being seated on my couch, right? Or on a chair, or on the floor, sitting on the floor, or on a cushion, right? And you're comfortable there, sitting on the floor. That's why the floor should not be too cold, right? Now, what you can do as well with that type of tool, and that's amazing, is that you can set your mind to be receiving messages at specific time. Wow, how great is that? Well, let's say, for example, that you decide, it's like a reminder, it's like something that you program. By the way, if you want to work on tasks, there is an amazing tool that I highly recommend you to look at. It's called Monday.com. Monday.com allows you to be working with different tasks, different team members, and to know which tasks are being completed, how much of completion are they in the process of. Give it a try. It's a free program that you can start with, and it's very, very powerful. And they've got a lot of different settings already pre-established that you can look into. Very, very good tool, Monday.com. Highly recommend it. Now, you want to be working as well. Let's say, for example, that you're looking for, let's start with projects very simple. Let's look at a computer. You want to work and to buy a new computer. Okay, you allow yourself a time frame. You say, well, I want to do my research and I need 2 weeks to do that. So in that period of 2 weeks, you set your mind of what you want. First thing I do is I have a dream board with cork or gold background, whatever you want, and I put there with blue tack sometimes, or I pin them on the cork, the things that I want to manifest. So it's like a manifesting board, right? And at the start, I would just put one sticker, one note, sticky note, saying laptop or computer. And progressively, I'm going to allow myself time frames of 2 weeks, 2 weeks where I would like to manifest this happening in my life. Okay. And then I'm going to start to have downloads, because I'm going to allow myself to receive information and to collect and gather those information for me inside of those different time frames. Okay, so let's do that. You allow yourself 2 weeks. Within those 2 weeks period bracket, what you do is you say, you know what? I want to receive those content of information between 6 a.m. in the morning to 8 p.m. at night. And when I'm not available, because I'm busy doing something else, you send it to me through like an email. And those emails, each time I want to tap into it, then I can have access to that. Well, we just created another tool. Yes, we did. You create an imaginary email account. I like to create mine with thehappylifenow.com at gmail.com. thehappylife@gmail.com. thehappylifenow@gmail.com. That's my Gmail address. Now, when you do that, you can create an imaginary one. And in that one, you're going to ask your guides and spirits to send you those messages there. And you're going to be able to visualize that you're receiving those emails one after the other. How great is that? Imagine that. You can have access to that email account anytime you want through your imaginary phone, for example. And that way you can visualize through an imaginary screen all the things that needs to be displayed there. How great is that? This is an amazing tool as well, because that means that you're going to be able to receive information and content with this, for example, 2 weeks bracket, and you can be receiving messages such as, go to Bunnings. They might have a special offer. And when you open this email, you might even have the date when you are supposed to go there. Wow, that sounds to be interesting. Okay, now if you link that to an imaginary schedule, planning, you start to have the days and the month and all the tasks being written there. And you can ask your guides to set specific time and days and events that you have to attend and to go. It might be an op shop that you have to go for because they might have an amazing screen that just be dropped there, or a cash converter. Wow. Imagine that one day you got that cash converter, and on the day at the same time you just come in, there is this guy who brings in that amazing computer that he wants to sell. And you basically just make the deal on the spot. What are the chances that would happen? Well, it did happen for me already a few times. So I do believe it happens. Again, what we believe in is enhanced by the events that are happening in our life. The more events happen in our life, the more we believe in those opportunities, right? You do understand that we'll have to keep working on that topic on the next session. So I wish you all the best. Talk to you soon. Enjoy your afternoon.